Moira, 10 minutes or less. And, you know, like I said something at the start of Ron, I'm going to say something at the start with Moira. So every support in the game has some form of utility, something that helps the team that isn't healing. Zen has his Discord that he puts on someone and they take extra damage. Mercy has res and damage boost. Lucio has speed. People sleep on the speed. Don't sleep on the speed. Kiriko has Suzu. Brig, shield, I guess. Bap has immortality. Ana is utility made into a fucking person. Moira has no utility whatsoever. So Moira has the highest raw healing and the highest raw damage out of every support in the game, because she has no utility. So the first thing I want to go over with Moira is her heals. It goes through people, it goes through barriers, it heals for 70 per second when you're healing, and when you're done healing, let's wait for this guy to get low. Give him a little spritz. It heals for 51 over 3 seconds after that. So like 16 or some shit per second after that. So you can, you know, spray someone up to a decent amount and then, you know, let that 51 over 3 seconds, you know, help them with the rest. So you don't need to spam all of your spray to top someone off, because, you know, they've got that last 51 that, you know, that's going to help. It's not going to save their life, but, you know, it helps. One thing I forgot about the healing, one thing I'm actually mad that I went out of order with, Moira is going to thrive the most in very, like, close quarters death ball comps. Like, any team that has to play really close together and close-knit, any team that has to play Found Family, you know, Rhine, Junker Queen, Moira's going to be one of the best picks you can make. Any team that wants to separate or go fast and all over the place, like dive comps, Moira is a terrible pick because she's going to be putting out way less, you know, raw healing. You want your team in a group so that when you spray, you're healing for as much as humanly possible. I'm mad I went out of order with that. Her damage, her, you know, her other hand, the hurdy hand, it does 50 damage per second, and it heals you for about, I think, like 20 or 24 or some shit. There's really nothing I can say about that. When you are dueling someone, try to make yourself hard to hit. And if they do turn around and start trying to deal with you, you have two options. Either, you know, use the fade to throw off their aim, or use the fade to, you know, get the fuck out. Because, at the end of the day, you are a support. Your job is to heal your team. So, if you die, you are leaving your team with only one support. Which is rough, but it's doable, but it's really fucking rough. Like, if I'm playing Mercy or Ana, and our Moira is going full DPS in the enemy backline, my job is now so much fucking harder, and in some cases, that job is now impossible depending on how the enemy's playing. So don't be a DPS, Moira. Please help your fucking team. Please be the fucking support. Do damage if you want. Don't just be a strict DPS, Moira, please. Alright, next thing is the fade, which there isn't much to go over. You become invulnerable, you get increased jump height, you get increased movement speed. Use it to survive. If you're, you know, in the back of your team, healing them up, keeping them protected, and you get dove, good news. Now whoever dove you, and whatever resources they used, just wasted their time. They dive you again, you just fade out of the way, and go back to healing your team. Next thing is the orb, and I prepared a graphic for this. So, the damage orb does a total of 200 damage. When it hits 200, it's done. Your healing orb, on the other hand, heals for... Let me wait for the boss to actually spawn. Your healing orb heals for 300 total. So, if you have to pick between hurting the enemy or healing, you're gonna get more value out of the raw healing, you know, percentage of the orb. One thing you want to work on with your orbs is don't just, you know, throw them like that, because you are losing value doing that. You want to throw them, let me wait for my orb to come back. You want to throw them at an angle, like towards the floor, hopefully towards the ceiling if there's a ceiling to get even more value. Because, and this is where I loaded up a graphic. Let me actually get the graphic up. So this right here is math. I'm sorry for any of you who are... I'm sorry I didn't put a trigger warning on the video for math. So when you throw the orb straight forward, like this top line here, it just goes forward. It goes to that 20 meters, and, you know, it stops affecting its target pretty fast. At the 5 meter mark, it's technically 4 for damage orb, but for the sake of this, it's 5, because the math is easier. It hits that 5 damage mark quicker, it stops affecting the target. Meanwhile, if you throw it at an angle, like this bottom one here, what happens is, where it hits 5 meters here, it hits 5 meters about here instead, and still affects the target. Because triangles have a longer side. So, you know, if this side is going... If this right here is 5 meters, what this is doing here, when you're doing the math, is... Let me get a real brush or some shit. So what it's doing here is, when you throw it, it's going down by about 2.5 meters, and then it's going right by 5 meters. And then you do the math, a squared, b squared, c squared. And this line is 5.59 meters, which is more than right here, and it's still affecting the target. And then it comes up and does even more to the target. Let's say it's like 10 or some shit. So you vastly increased how long it's affecting this target here just by throwing it down instead. Like, let me demonstrate really quick. If I throw my healing orb right now, it's going to heal the target, and then it's gone. It's already gone. And by the time it comes back, it's, you know, healing for even less. But if I do it, like, you know, as an example, straight up and down, it's just going to basically be a healing beacon. Also something you could consider doing if there's a ceiling. If you do it at an angle, it stays with them for longer. And, you know, when it comes back, it stays with them for longer. So, if you need your orb to get somewhere fast, do it straight ahead. Do it straight ahead, it'll get there as fast as possible. But if you want your orb to have maximum effect, especially when you're healing, do it like that. Do the angle. And very last thing to go over is Coal, which there's only one tip I really have for, well, 2 tips really for Coal. First thing, when you Coal, throw an orb. Immediately when you throw the orb. Because when you throw the orb, you know, first of all, you have an orb going, it might get a kill. Second of all, you're going to get another orb when you're done using Coal. So, throw an orb and immediately Coal. When you use Coal, try to use it to heal your team and damage the enemy at the same time. Because this, Moira's ult will pierce. It'll go through your friends, it'll hit enemies, and it's going to do, I don't even remember the numbers. Hold up, let me load up the numbers. So it's damaging the enemy by 70 per second and healing your team for 140. So altogether, if you've got, you know, 1 teammate and 1 enemy in the line when you do Coal, you're getting effectively 210 health points of value, both damage and healing. If you're just using it to keep 1 person alive, you may as well just let them die. I'm gonna be real. But if you're using it to actually start the fight or enable your team to survive a more aggressive fight, you're gonna get so much fucking value getting them to fight in a line like this. And yeah, that's everything I've got for Moira. Sorry about the math. And yeah, big thing, remember to do your fucking orbs at an angle. You will feel the fucking difference. Your team will feel the fucking difference. And yeah, peace.